Hey everybody, this is Benny, and I got some questions. Can you safely place a campfire inside a flammable base? Do trees grow from saplings? Can cargo pods start your base on fire? Welcome to Icarus Myths and Legends, Episode 1. This episode we're going to take a look at 3 common Icarus myths and put them to rest. So first we're going to cover the myth that trees grow from saplings. So I've marked off this area here so that we have a controlled area to work with. I do want to let you know that this is my 3rd time filming this. Now, long story short, I had to change out my graphics card to an old card. You'll notice that things aren't quite as crisp, if you look at the wolf there, as they were previously. I've ordered a new card, and I'm just going to have to wait for that now to get here. And there's Arthur doing his thing. Keep me from being attacked while I film. Anyway, so I'm back up and running, but I had to trash the first 2 takes. I couldn't figure out what was going on, why the frames were really bad, and it kept just freezing while I was turning, and it was not good. So I'm going to recreate this experiment, but I'm not going to wait the full 24 hours like I did the first time, because I do have an answer already, and I just want to demonstrate how this happened. So I blocked off this area here. And then what I did was I went through and I cleared out any saplings. This one's kind of on the edge. We'll get rid of that one too. I cleared out any saplings that were inside of this area here. These are outside, but I'm going to get rid of those too. So now we can see that there's a nice clear area here with no saplings. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to restart the game, which is going to repopulate those saplings. And what does that is, if you go into your settings here, gameplay, and you scroll down to fiber foliage respawn, and you want that on, that'll make your bushes and all that stuff respawn after you've used them. You also have this large stone respawn. I've already covered this in another video, but just while I'm sitting here, this only applies to those big stone boulders, not to any kinds of ores or anything like that. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to restart the game now, and that's going to cause all of the saplings to respawn in this area here. And we're going to quit all the way to the desktop. Here we are back, and you see we've got a couple of little saplings have popped up there. There's another one back here. A couple more right there. Along with the one just outside there that I knocked those down. So these are all fresh. And so what I did the first time was I had these all sitting here, and then I left to do other things, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to go and do the other myths, and then we're going to check back on these, see if there's been any changes. But for now, let's go ahead and move to the next experiment. Okay, so here we are at the Campfire safety course, and we're going to test that myth that it's safe to have campfires inside your house. Now, I know what you're all saying. Of course it's safe to have a campfire in your house, right? What could possibly go wrong? Well, first of all, is it safe to even have it on a flammable floor like the thatch floor here? Or wood, or in this case, this is all beeswax wood you see here. It actually does burn just the same as the regular wood does. The difference being it is weather resistant. And when I was setting this up, I didn't want the storms to come along and just completely destroy these every time. So I made these all out of beeswax wood, and that way they're going to last while I do this filming. But I did just put this thatch floor down. I've attempted this multiple times now. And for some reason, I could not get this thatch to catch on fire. I must have had a magical piece of thatch, because as you can see, as soon as you walk through that, you start the thing right on fire, and then I started the beeswax on fire. I don't want that on fire. I myself am on fire. We're gonna go. I should have put this closer to the water. You see that that's the main problem. You're gonna step into the campfire, and then you're gonna step on the platform and start it on fire. Now, interesting note here. You can see that this platform isn't destroyed, and this is actually really common. The piece can put itself out. It wasn't touching any other pieces, so it itself, there's a random chance it's going to go out. And that's what happened. It went out. if it was connected to other pieces, I'm going to go ahead and repair this one that I caught on fire, then those pieces will feed each other. And that's when you really end up with a whole lot of fire. It's when pieces feed each other like that. But a lot of times when your building burns down, you'll have a few scrap pieces left here and there that didn't burn all the way. And that's because they usually got isolated and then they were allowed to go out because they didn't have the fire passing back and forth between the two. Next, is it safe to have your campfire close to your angled wall? Now, you can see it's not, the flame's not touching it, right? You think you're safe? You got your lean-to or your A-frame house, and you think, that's far enough away. It should be fine. No, it's not. They'll catch on fire. And you're going to see what I was talking about. This piece is probably not going to just go out. I mean, there is a chance that both pieces could go out. They could randomly go out at the same time. But more than likely, the top piece is going to start the bottom piece on fire, and then the bottom piece, and you know, back and forth. They're going to keep each other going. So that's going to burn for quite a while, probably. Now, on to the next setup here. And I only set these up because I tested this here, and you saw that could set the roof on fire. Normally, you don't have fireplaces elevated up near the roof, so it's not an issue. You would just have a wall. The difference comes in here, and we got torches, right? You want to have some light, and so you put a torch on the wall. Is a torch safe on a wooden wall? And the answer is sometimes. So if you have that torch in a place where the flame is not touching the ceiling, you should be safe. However, if your flame is up near the ceiling to where you're right on the ceiling like that, maybe I didn't put that one high enough, but it is possible to put these torches high enough to set your roof on fire. And did I not put that one up high enough? Oh, there it goes. So you see, a lot of houses are burnt down because of torches too close to the roof. So be careful with that. This one on the other hand is probably going to be fine. We're going to leave that sitting there. Next is going to be furniture. Okay, I'm just going to open this door so I can back out of it. So as you can see, we've got a chair, we've got our bedroll in here, and we got the fire up close to the wall. Now, I'll tell you right off the bat, this is going to be fine the way I have it right now. However, I put this back out for a second, and I'm going to turn my light on so you can see what I'm doing. If I were to lay in bed, and this bed requires more shelter, I'd have to close the door. And we're going to go ahead and go to sleep. All right, it's now morning, and when I stand up, I am standing right in the fire. This is probably the most common way to burn your base down. You hear about that constantly. So all you new people, you know what, don't feel bad. It's a rite of passage in this game to burn your base down. All right, let's go. I'm going to put this out and save the materials here. Let's go ahead and pick this up. We know that's going to be a fire hazard the way I have it right there. What about furniture? Well, you saw it was sitting there and it wasn't a problem, right? When it is well, first of all, if I sat in it, obviously my feet would be right in the fire, and that could be a problem. The other problem is you can actually place these close enough that with the, as you can see, it's already starting on fire, and they can actually flare right up. This one just looks like it's taking damage. Yeah, and there it goes. I've had them start completely on fire before, so that can be a problem where you could start your base on fire. Another issue is going to be, go ahead and pick this up. Let's say you're building a base and you're like, oh man, I got to get this campfire down because, I'm freezing to death and I need at least some heat while I work here. I'll wait for those pieces to go away. So you put down your campfire and you're like, yeah, I need it as far away from my bed as possible so I don't get out of bed right into the fire. And now I'm going to go ahead and put down my wall. And then I'm going to come in here and I'm like, oh, I got to freeze. I'm going to put my wood in the fire. Yeah. And you're going to put your wood in the fire. And, that's That's another way to burn your base down. I'm going to go ahead and turn that off, put this out. So that's another way to start your base on fire. Now, the question then becomes, is it safe to put your campfire in your base? And I'd say with a one by base like this, there's probably no such thing as a safe fire inside of a 1 by base, as far as I'm concerned. I always end up walking through that thing and starting on fire. So this is going to be your other option. I love this option. Or anytime you want to put a campfire inside of a separate base, you could build 2 of these right next to each other. Keep them separated, but just 2 boxes, and then put the fire in the other one. And the fire will still keep you warm, but the fire will be safe. So if I come over here and I turn this guy on, oh, I forget to put fuel in it again. Go ahead and put a 50 stack in there. So you can put these fires in here. Now it can be tough to get this to work because you got to get it in deep enough to where the storm doesn't put it out. But as you can see, it's burning over there. And if I come over here, I come inside the base, and if you look down here, I've still got my warm and cozy buff. Actually, I get 2 warm and cozy buffs right now. I'm not sure where I'm getting the other one from. This fire's out. I might still, oh yeah, this fire's still going over here. So we're going to deactivate that one. You can see this one's still going. And I come in here and I have shelter. I have my warm and cozy buff. And if it was nighttime, not sure where I put my sleeping bag. Doesn't matter. I've got a full-size bed on me here. And if I lay down, you can see that my time's not in. I can't sleep because it's daytime, but you can see I've got that campfire buff. I am close enough to a campfire to sleep right there. And if I get out, I don't step in the fire, so I also can't get out of here. There we go. So, fire in a boulder. That's one way to do it. Now the question is, how far does the warm and cozy buff extend? And it's really far, actually. So I'm going to turn this guy on. The wind shouldn't put this out. Rain might if it starts raining. But anyway, if you look down there at the bottom, you see that I'm getting really warm. I'm standing real close to the fire. Close enough to where it's going to cause a problem if I sit here for too long. I'll back up a little bit. Now, you can see I've still got my warm and cozy buff, but I'm more regulated temperature. Now, if you're in the Arctic, you do want to be this close. You want to be right up on top of that thing or have it, in an enclosed area with you to keep you warmer than what you're going to get from just the warm and cozy buff. But, okay, anyway, we'll put the hammer on so we can see the outlines here. We are 1 square back from the campfire. I'm going to go back here. We're 2, and we still have a warm and cozy. 3, still warm and cozy. 4, still there. 5, 6, still warm and cozy. I'm going to back up 1 more. And real close here. There it goes. So that's about the extent of how far you can get from your campfire and still get the warm and cozy buff. Now, if you went up a level from it, or down a level for that matter, then you gotta get a. It's not going to be quite this far because you're going to have that angle. You just kind of draw a straight line and try to get about the same distance, but it is pretty far. And I already know this from previous testing, but if I put a wall up in between here and I come back here, and I'm still in that last space here, you'll notice I still have the warm and cozy buff. I've stacked walls all the way down this, and it's made no difference whatsoever. Walls don't block the ability for this fire to give you the ability to sleep and give you those little buffs from the warm and cozy buff. So, in conclusion, I am going to declare that it is safe under certain circumstances to have a campfire in your base, but if you can figure out a way to keep it outside, that's definitely the better way to go. Okay, the next myth is, do cargo pods start your base on fire, or do they start fires when they lift off from the ground? And to add to that, we've also seen some rumors floating around of cargo pods when they're launching up, like blowing out walls. I think somebody had said the other day, one of his friends swears a cargo pod blew out the concrete walls of his base. So we're going to do some testing here and see how much damage does it do? Does it start things on fire? And then there's the other aspect of this is it a bad idea to put the orbital exchange board right next to your base? Now, let's deal with that one first, because it's a pretty simple answer. As long as your base isn't sprawled out across the countryside, having the orbital exchange interface close to your base is the better option. And the reason for that is the game is going to try to drop that pod a distance away from the board. And it's got a radius that it's aiming for. The times when that starts to become a problem is when you don't have any safe landing zones, and then the game bumps it in looking for a landing zone, and sometimes it can end up closer to your stuff than it otherwise would. And then you'd have to deal with that damage or the possible fire that we're going to look into here. But for the most part, the safest place to have this board is by your base, because it's going to try to put the pod away from the board, off in the distance. So let's launch down our first pod here. And we're going to see where that's coming down at. It's going to come down over there. Okay. And see how far away that put that? That's generally what it's trying to do. And in the case, obviously, if it was too close to this mountain, it's going to bump it towards us. If you had a base built right under there, it might drop it down on top of that cliff, and that's kind of inconvenient. But that's the kind of things you deal with when you build right next to cliffs. I had to put a ladder up one time so I could keep going up there to grab cargo pods. Let's go ahead and request another one. First thing it's going to do is going to launch the old one up. And as you can see, none of the brush or anything started on fire there. And here comes the new one down. And again, it put it pretty far away from the base. That's what it's going to keep trying to do. All right, let's go over and do some testing. That one's landed right over in our tree farm here, potential tree farm. And we're going to go ahead and test to see if this thing will start a fire or not, and how much damage it's going to do. Okay, so what I'm going to do to test this is I'm just going to build a base. I'm going to build a base right around this thing. We're going to go ahead and we're going to put a window in the front here. There we go. Yep, there we go. All right, so that's a lot of flammable materials, and we're just going to go ahead and see if it'll start this stuff on fire, and how much damage is it going to do? All right. Well, we saw those damage numbers go up. I don't see any fires. Let's go ahead and see how much damage was done here. So this front piece here, 50 damage. 50 damage to the floor. Oop. Oh, okay. 33 damage to the ceiling. You'd think that'd be the worst. I mean, it went right through the ceiling. 50 damage to the wall here. 100 damage to this wall. And 50 damage to this wall. So, not a lot of damage to those pieces. And no fire. But, you know, that's just one. Maybe if we do it again, maybe we can get some fire going. And I'm also going to come in here and I'm going to grab this piece of concrete. A couple of beams to hold it up, and a concrete floor. So let's go ahead and call down another pod. All right, it's coming down over here. We're going to go ahead and put this concrete floor down. Put a couple pillars. I don't know if these are necessary here, but these dang concrete walls are pretty finicky sometimes about having a lot of support, which I suppose makes sense. They're heavy. All right, we're going to put up these fiber or thatch pieces here, and we're going to put a thatch roof back on it. All right. You know what? We'll even put up another one up here. What do we got here? Some pillar up there, and another roof there. Now, there's so many things here that could go wrong and start on fire. I would think that this would do it. Let's go ahead and put more walls around it. So, I mean, I'm inviting disaster here, right? I mean, how much worse? Arthur, you don't want to be there. Oh, well, I guess we'll see how much damage it does to the dog.
Warning, clear immediate area. Oh, yes.
Is he just going to sit there? Where'd he go? He's in there with it. All right. There it goes. It did not blow out the concrete wall. As you can see, Arthur's fine. He took a tiny little bit of damage there. 7% of his health. And the structure is quite intact. The concrete took 50. I'm not sure what's up with the numbers up here being like 33, but the point being, the highest damage I've seen in any of these is 100 damage, and most of these are at 50. So the only time this is going to blow out your concrete wall is if your concrete wall is in really, really bad condition to begin with. And quite frankly, if these things started fires, we'd all know it by now, because these things land in the brush all the time. It's not like we go around clearing brush, you know, and this brush really is flammable. If I were to put something that actually does start fires here and turn it on, you can see that instantly caught fire, right? I'm going to go ahead and pull this out of here. And that's what it would look like every time the cargo pod took off if it was capable of starting fires. Oh! My dog's stuck inside here. Hold, please. You can see the dog's on fire. He can start fires too. Oh, we're both on fire. Run for the lake, Arthur. Well, there you go. Cargo pods do not start fires, and they really don't do enough damage to destroy much of anything, unless you've already been neglecting it. We're back over here by the would-be tree farm, looking at our saplings. None of them have changed. And what I've come to learn is these saplings, the same size, the same placement, will be here every time I clear these out and then restart the game, as long as I have that fiber respawn option on. So I've never seen one grow up. And just to make sure I had the correct answer for all of you, I did get a hold of the same design dev that I check with from time to time. And they confirmed for me that trees do not respawn in the game. They don't grow from saplings, they don't recover from stumps, and they don't just reappear magically. The only time a tree will be respawned in the world is if the devs change something in the map and they have to do a map refresh. But this isn't something you can count on. It's not something that happens often. It just can happen once in a while where a few trees will get reset just because the devs were working on the map in that area. Maybe fixing a piece of, a bad geometry in the map, or a hole in the terrain or something like that. That's the only time your trees are going to respawn. So there you have it. Trees do not respawn from saplings. So let's go over the results for today. And that is, number 1, trees do not respawn or grow from saplings. Number 2, it is safe to put a fire inside your base with the right fire safety. You can make that work. I would recommend not doing it for very long, but it can work. And number 3, cargo pods do not set your buildings on fire. And they do very minimal damage, so you shouldn't have to worry about anything destroying your base with a drop pod, unless that thing was already in some pretty sorry condition. So I hope you had fun with this today. I hope you learned something. And if you still disagree with anything I said, drop it down in the comments below. And maybe we will revisit it again on a future episode. And I can try your experiments if you've got something else you want me to try. Or if you've got some kind of proof that you want me to see. Let me know all about it. All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Have a great day. And we'll see you next time. Benny out.